Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters. I'm your host, Mitch. Glad to have you here. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about Commander on a budget. Today we have an episode of Commander's 2 Cents. On episodes like these, I give you my own personal take on topics about the format in general and current news. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. And while you're at it, subscribe and review our podcast as well. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about you. More specifically, we're talking about which Commander player type are you? Commander is an extremely diverse format, and you can play it in a lot of different ways. And because of that, it attracts a wide variety of players. If you ask two people the same questions about Commander on why they like Commander or what their favorite commanders are, you're probably going to get different answers. That's because people are different, including Commander players, and have different opinions on what they like and don't like. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started though. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking about psychographic profiles. According to a Wizards article, a psychographic profile separates players into categories based on their psychological makeup. What motivates the player to play, what kind of cards they like, and what kind of things encourage that player to keep on playing. Now, Wizards has defined certain psychographic profiles for Magic in general. And in my opinion, those psychographic profiles definitely apply to Commander players as well. But those profiles are generalizations. Not every player is going to fit into just one profile perfectly because some players are combinations of these profiles. And some players even don't fit in any of those psychographic profiles, and that's okay too. This is just a fun exercise, so don't take these profiles too seriously as they definitely can be exaggerations. And I didn't create these, so don't get mad at the messenger if you don't like these categorizations. With all that being said though, let's get into it. The first psychographic profile from Wizards that I want to bring up today is Timmy or Tammy. Now, I'm definitely not an expert in psychology, so in some of these parts, I'm going to be reading from a wiki. Again, because I didn't create these, I want to try to speak as well to these as I can. And once again, these are generalizations, so keep that in mind. A Timmy or Tammy is characterized by their tendency to use big creatures and cast big spells. Large, exciting plays motivate them. Timmys are most associated with playing for fun in all kinds of huge creatures, fantastic spells, and mythical enchantments. Mark Rosewater, the head designer of Magic, had this to say about Timmy. Timmy wants to experience something. Timmy plays Magic because he enjoys the feeling he gets when he plays. What that feeling is will vary from Timmy to Timmy, but what all Timmys have in common is that they enjoy the visceral experience of playing. So essentially, to wrap all this up, Timmys like to play for fun and like to do big, exciting things. And in the unsets, Timmy's an actual card with Timmy Power Gamer. Timmy Power Gamer is a 1/1 human gamer that costs 2 green. By paying 4, you can put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Now this is actually the one with the newest art, but since the art hasn't been fully released yet, this is a bit grainy, so let's just look at the older one. Anyways, this card tries to encapsulate what some Timmys want to do, which is just playing big creatures. Now again, that's not the case for all Timmys out there. And according to the wiki, there are some subgroups of Timmys. The first is that Power Gamer, which loves playing big creatures and big smells as they smash their way to victory. They equate power with fun. And then there are social gamers, which thrive on the social aspect of the game. Their only interest is interacting with their friends, thus they tend toward multiplayer variants. Commander? Anyone? Anyone? Then there's diversity gamers, which like to experience all the different deck types and formats. They always try something different because they enjoy constant exploration. And then there's adrenaline gamers, which enjoy the variance in the game, so they play cards and decks that don't have a predictable outcome. They love cards that work differently each time you play them, like a coin flip card. So essentially, a chaos deck or a coin flip deck might be fun for them. Now again, all these things are very much generalizations, so take them with a grain of salt. There might be a Timmy out there that's also one of the other psychographic profiles too. And there might be one that's got aspects of all three. But essentially in general, when people think about a Timmy or a Tammy, they think about players playing big fun spells. Now a potentially negative thing in some people's mind that might be associated with Timmys and Tammys is that they like very simple decks. The deck might be doing big things, but it's pretty straightforward. Some examples of creature-based decks that do this are Gishath, the Ur-Dragon, and Mile the Anima. Tribal decks can be very simple and straightforward to build, like dinosaurs or dragons or just really big creatures. Now, green can definitely be associated with Timmys, but it doesn't have to because you've got other commanders like Kalia, Joyra, and Braids, which can bring out big creatures that aren't green. But for certain Timmys as well, you might focus on combat like Xenagos, Purphoros, or Ghalta. Again, big creatures coming into play and swinging big. Even commanders like Ramos Dragon Engine and Animar Soul of Elements can definitely be Timmy commanders. The thing about commanders, though, is that you can build them in a variety of ways. A Timmy might approach building Animar in a completely different way than a Johnny, in a completely different way than a Spike. Not one way is right and not one way is wrong. But when it comes to these psychographic profiles, they tend to have opinions on how the other ones play and build decks. Timmy's might see Johnny's as too focused on certain combos, and Spike's might be too bent on winning. Again, these are all perspectives and generalizations, so please take everything with a grain of salt. With that being said though, let's get into our next psychographic profile with Johnny and Jenny. So a Johnny or Jenny is characterized by their tendency to build complex and creative decks. They are most commonly known by many people as the combo player, and they sometimes choose for the elaborate but inefficient win conditions. They like to find interesting combination of cards that can win the game or give them an advantage. They might seek out niche cards or other cards that people think are bad, and they try to break that card by exploiting them in ways to give them abnormal power and win the game. Johnnies are going to be happiest when their decks work and they win in their own way. Mark Rosewater wrote about Johnny and said, "Johnny is the creative gamer to whom magic is a form of self-expression. Johnny likes to win, but wants to win with style. It's very important to Johnny that he wins on his own terms. As such, it's important to Johnny that he's using his own deck. Playing Magic is an opportunity for Johnny to show off his creativity." So basically, Johnnies like to build interesting and unique decks with a lot of synergy. Wizards represents Johnny with this card. Johnny Combo Player is a 1/1 human gamer that costs 2 blue, and it has pay 4, search your library for a card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. So essentially, you can keep tutoring for the right cards for your combo. Now, not all Johnnies are combo players, but some are. So again, let's look at the subgroups on the wiki. Combo players are fascinated by the interaction of the cards, they find combinations that no one else has, and they want to build decks that will impress all who see them. Then there are offbeat designers, which are driven by ideas. They are proving their ability to find answers for any challenge. What if the deck has only lands? What if the deck had never played any permanents? And then deck artists use deck building as a form of self-expressive art. And finally, Uber Johnny thrives on doing the undoable. He likes to do what others say can't be done. Again, these are generalizations, but again, there are definitely some truths to them. So to kind of bridge the gap between Timmy's and Johnny's, let's take a look at Joda and Golos. Both can essentially help you cast really big spells. Now that definitely appeals to Timmy, as we talked about how Timmy's like to play big spells. But a Johnny player might take that and build an extremely synergistic deck that revolves around those big spells doing really crazy things. It's kind of like putting a Magic the Gathering puzzle together out of cards and building an engine that's unstoppable. In my opinion, commanders that provide a lot of synergy really appeal to Johnnies. So commanders that provide absurd card advantage like Korvold, Jorah, and Tulane can definitely be good picks. Others that provide advantage and give you a different kind of deck building challenge like Elsha, Kaikar, and Atla Palani can also be options. And even taking a commander to the extreme like Maelstrom Wanderer or Demon Lord Belzenlock can be done too. The decks I built around these two are definitely Johnny decks. Maelstrom Wanderer has 97 lands and Demon Lord Belzenlock has 72. And finally, let's take a look at a commander like Anya Falkenrath, which definitely has an overlap between Johnnies and Spikes. With this kind of a commander, it offers Johnny extreme synergy, and it offers Spike incredible power. Now again, these are all generalizations, but Johnnies might see Timmy's as too simplistic and Spike's as uptight and unoriginal. So instead of just casting any big spell for fun, a Johnny might cast a spell that has a bit more synergy with their deck. And instead of just using one of the known best decks out there, a Johnny might want to make their own kind of deck out of a commander that's either underappreciated or some cards that are underused. But what is that final psychographic profile? Who is Spike? So according to the wiki, a Spike is characterized by their competitive nature and they play primarily to prove how good they are. A Spike will find the best deck in the format even if it requires copying another inventor's work, which is also kind of known as net decking. Spike's cards are effective, designed to secure a fast and effective victory over opponents. So many in the EDH community might see a Spike as essentially someone who's from the CEDH community or competitive EDH. Now again, these psychographic profiles are generalizations and not something to be taken too seriously. And also take everything with a grain of salt because that might be partially true, but it also might be very much not true. Anyways, Mark Rosewater wrote of Spike. Spike is the competitive player. Spike plays to win. Spike enjoys winning. To accomplish this, Spike will play whatever the best deck is. Spike will copy decks off the internet. Spike will borrow other players' decks. To Spike, the thrill of Magic is the adrenaline rush of competition. Spike enjoys the stimulation of outplaying the opponent and the glory of victory. So this more so seems like it's less about the deck building process and just about finding the best deck and then outplaying your opponents with that. So Spike is represented in Magic by Spike Tournament Grinder. Spike is a 1/1 human gamer that costs 2 Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. Spike has pay Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black, Phyrexian Black. Choose a card you own from outside the game that has been banned or restricted in a constructed format, then reveal that card and put it into your hand. So basically for free, you can tutor for some extremely broken and powerful cards. Again, according to the wiki, there are some subgroups of Spikes. Innovators pride themselves on their ability to judge new cards. Their goal is to find the next broken thing. Their dream is to spawn the next dominant deck. Tuners try to dominate by fine-tuning the known decks. Analysts plan on winning not by having the best deck in a vacuum, but by having the best deck suited for a particular environment. Nuts and Bolts focuses their energies on perfecting their own gameplay. They try to understand their own internal flaws and work to improve them. Now, if we're going to stick to this generalization of a Spike, if they were playing CDH, they'd probably be playing a top-tier deck. Some of the commanders up there right now are Najila, Kenrith, and the First Sliver. Others are going to be Zur, Urza, and the Gitrog monster. But the very top tier, according to many, are Thrasios and Timna. So according to these generalizations, that spike would probably be playing Flash Hulk. Again, take everything with a grain of salt. Not everyone who plays EDH is a spike, or at the very least, this kind of a spike. Many Magic players are a combination of different psychographic profiles, and some don't fit any of these psychographic profiles at all. With that being said, one final generalization from the wiki is that spikes might see Timmys as rookies, and Johnnies as eccentric and even annoying. Again, these psychographic profiles are fun to take a look at and have a discussion around, but don't take them too seriously, please. In my mind, it's fun for me to think about what kind of psychographic profile or profiles fit me. And if you don't have a psychographic profile that fits you, that's okay too. And if that's true, then you very well might just be the one. And by that I mean that maybe you're Richard Garfield, and if that's the case, hey Richard, I can't believe that you actually watch my channel. So if you're Richard Garfield, or if you're not Richard Garfield, make sure you comment below with your thoughts on this episode. And make sure you're following us on social media for more updates and sneak peeks on future episodes. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons who help make this show possible. I truly couldn't do any of this without your support. If you want to support this channel directly, consider becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, including being able to vote on future commanders for deck techs. There are even tiers where you get your own personalized deck tech dedicated to you. You can check out all the Patreon tiers and rewards at patreon.com/commandersquarters. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. Here at the Commander's Quarters, we're all about budget commander. So while you're at it, go ahead and check out some of our other types of episodes. And with that, I'm out of here. Thanks again, and have a good one.